Part 3. Powers. Now what? The others accepted Trash pretty quickly. I guess it wasn't hard for them to realize that they shared a rare and common bond, especially Torchy and Trash. Since the two of them had the most destructive powers, they'd gotten into the most trouble. For the first week, I had to walk down the hall and invite Trash to our room each evening. Hey, why don't you come over and hang out with us? Are you sure? Yeah, come on. But then he started popping in by himself. I guess it had been a long time since anyone had welcomed him anywhere. I knew what that felt like. Trash certainly added some excitement to our lives. We were never sure when he'd launch a book across the room or tip a chair, dumping out whatever was on it. Whoever was sitting on it. I learned to keep an eye on Flinch. As soon as he ducked, I knew it was time to hug the carpet and cover my head. The word we heard the most from Trash was sorry. I finally told him to knock it off. It was Friday, but we decided not to sneak out of the school. We didn't want to ditch Trash, but we didn't think that the town of Edgeview was ready for a visit from him. Besides, one of those bitter, cold, mid-February storms had made the trip less appealing than usual. So we were all hanging out in the room. Torchy was playing the harmonica. All of a sudden, his chair jolted as if someone had given it a hard kick. It didn't move far enough to knock him off, but it sure got his attention. Whoa, Torchy shouted as he jumped from his seat. Sorry, said Trash. No big deal, Torchy told him. He sat back down and returned to the 39th chorus of Red River Valley. A minute later, Cheater screamed and leaped from the floor where he'd been sitting. As he twisted around, I saw the back of his underwear hanging over the top of his jeans. Wow, I said, amazed at the sight. That's got to be the world's biggest wedgie. Sorry, Trash said. Did you do that to him on purpose? Lucky asked as Cheater straightened out his clothing. No way, Trash said. I'd never touch anyone's underwear on purpose, not even with my mind. He shuddered. Yeah, Flinch, if you did that, you'd need to get brainwashed. Before I could laugh, a pencil flew from my desk and plunked against the side of my head, just hard enough to make me say, ouch. Sorry, Trash picked up the pencil and put it back on the desk. How about you say sorry once a day? I suggested. Say it in the morning, and that'll cover whatever happens during the next 24 hours, okay? I'll try. He dropped his gaze to the floor for a moment, but then looked back up. He reminded me of a puppy who had just been scolded. I glanced around the room. Is everyone happy with that? Sure, Torchy said. Fine with me. The others nodded. And you, I said, staring at Flinch. Stop with the sneezing thing. Someone's going to figure out what's happening. You did it again this afternoon in science. Flinch had fallen into a habit of saying Gesundheit right before any of us sneezed. That afternoon, he'd even handed me a tissue. He must have been keeping it ready, just waiting for an opportunity. He'd reached over and thrust it into my hand during class and whispered, Bless you. A half a second later, I'd sneezed. I guess it's a good thing Mr. Briggs hadn't been looking. You have to knock it off, I said. Flinch grinned, and doing a great imitation of Trash, he hung down his head and said, I'm sorry. It's not funny, Cheater said. If they did find out about us, bad things are going to happen. People hate anyone who's different. Yeah, they would cut us up to figure out how we work, Lucky said. I almost said crazy, but I caught myself in time. Not going to happen. Or lock us in a room, Cheater said. Use us for weapons or as spies. He walked over and blew out a small fire that had started smoldering in the wastebasket. They wouldn't do that, Torchy said, but we'd probably get split up if they found out. It's like a secret weapon, Lucky said. It works best if nobody knows about it. We can't tell anyone. It'll work even better if you learn to control it, I said. As those words left my lips, Torchy's pillow shot across the room and whizzed it past Flinch's head. Naturally, he dodged aside a second earlier. Sorry, Trash started to say. Oops. How can we control it? Torchy asked. Trash shook his head. I can. I've tried. Me too, Cheater said. There has to be something we can do. Torchy looked at me as if I had all the answers in the world. So did the others. Oh, we've got some information here. This is a letter. It says, Hey, Marty, thanks for the hair clip. It's not even my birthday. Thanks for the ticket, too. That brought back memories. Dad's mad at Mom for something. Not sure what. I think he's angry at me, too, but it's hard to tell. I sure haven't done anything wrong. Guess what? I was flipping the dial and I caught a bunch of people all the way up on channel 6 billion or somewhere around there, arguing about your school. I don't know what they were all concerned about, but it was too boring to leave on, so I switched to that show where they talk about lawn mowing. But I figured that you'd be happy to hear you were sort of on television. Your spectacular sister, Terry. P.S. I made lasagna last night. Is it supposed to be crunchy?